Hi, YouTube. Welcome on in. Hey, in case you guys don't know me, my name is Ed, and I'm a psychologist. I tend to go ahead and analyze video games, anime, everything in between, and we're jumping into the beginner's guide. I don't know much about it other than people have kept recommending it. They told me that it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour games. So I don't really know what to expect other than, maybe it's going to be a ton of fun. I do have like options turned on, and we were struggling to get this game up and running. Um, yeah, we were struggling to get this game up and running. Luckily, though, we did find a workaround around with it, so it seems to be in the clear now. But besides that, I'm beyond excited to jump into this to see what this game is about. And with that being said, let's go right into it. Yes, audio is on. You guys can hear it, right? Yeah, WASD. Perfect.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide.
Hi.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Uh huh.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Oh no.
Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike.
It is.
You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person.
Right.
And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So it's
okay.
2008,
Okay.
Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever.
Oh.
And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com.
No.
Okay, that's about it for introduction.
No!
Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
Okay,
As
hold
each
on.
game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Sure. So, before he starts talking, because I love narrators and I hate narrators. If you can pause and talk if you don't move. So one of the key things through that is I really do love older games. I think that older games really do have, and as he was saying, like you can see the artist behind the art, right? You can see the little mistakes, and you can start questioning a lot of these creative processes as to like what made them do certain actions, as he was clearly pointing out. And it's beautiful, and at the same time, it's for me. I kind of find that a piece of them, a piece of their legacy, still lives on. right? In art, in music, in video games, and 1,001 other aspects in there. A piece of the artist still lives on, and even in content like this, right? Who knows? I might be way gone, like 200, 300 years. People might be looking up, how were games played in the early 200s, 2000s, right? Or 2020s. Here you go. Here's a random creator that they fell upon. And a piece of us, right? A piece of what would now be outdated psychological terminology would still be present in some way, shape, or form. Like community made works like mods or Minecraft maps. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love community made works because it showcases the love of the people that are making them, right? And in big games like this and in like older games as well, especially games that don't use a lot of the like AI, artificially made frames and 1,001 other things. It's like a random floating block, a random like thing out there. It might have been an inside joke. It might have been a frame of reference for them that, hey, maybe they needed to come back and finish it. But at the very end, they just got like, it was tired. They're like, you know what? We're publishing it how it is. How do you guys feel about games like this? For me, whenever I look at like levels back in the day and like, a lot of older games, I'm always reminded that it took a team, or sometimes it took one person working all night, trying to maybe play around with Blender or with some other video game like creation tools, putting their love, putting their aspects of legacy into it for us to be able to go ahead and enjoy. And that's pretty powerful in of itself. Even just a standard white room like this. Oh.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift to structure image.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Look at that. The choice already. Leading you where you need to. Oh. We need to go.
Security code breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
No.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is.
Right.
And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
What
I
I
love
love
how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Oh. Oh. It kind of hits as well because it's a person's imagination at work, guys. Like, somebody was imagining a full-on universe about this character with this whisper machine and all of that. And just an ounce of that creativity, man. Even with the flat, like, the end of the earth or world right there, like.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Or, if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Yes. Wow. This is a really good labyrinth. Hold on. Now I'm lost. Hold on, chat. Now I'm lost. Follow one wall. That's all you got to do. Now you have to find your way back. Exactly. We're going to follow one wall all the way through. Sticking through the right wall here. GG, you played yourself. All right. We're sticking through one wall. This is how you solve any labyrinth. Oh. Okay, come through here. We are playing as the dev intended. Exactly. We're giving them the respect to come through and try and solve this. Okay, flip us around. Should take us around here. Should come over here. Yo, Nick, welcome on in. We're giving them the love and the respect that comes through with it, which is great. This is like, even the little moments like this mean a lot, you know? Okay, we flip, we come through, sticking through to the right wall, jumping through, come through, come this way, come this way. What was that? Chat, what was that? What was that, chat? Chat, I'm sorry. What was that? The right wall method doesn't work?
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Okay. Okay, I really want to touch on this real quick. I think even the small mazes and stuff like that, like whenever we look at a game, and again the legacy and also the narrator talking, whatever, like huge, right? Huge. This is what I love about unfinished games or like older products, and even people that are working today, is there are no wrong answers, there are no wrong solutions, and you should be comfortable with sometimes games that aren't met to our expectations because they carry a lot more weight than what we think. Like, if you're a creator, be comfortable challenging social expectations and what's being expected of people. Ooh.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all.
We
That
can?
beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam.
Yeah, but wouldn't I die?
So much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Why don't you do it? ¿En dónde estás? Nah, I'm good. No, I'm good. Thank yous. Okay. Fine.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Oh, so he fixed the bug. Okay. Oh.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
This is a beautiful one, though. Oh. The past was behind her. The future was in front. Damn. I know, this is a beautiful way to start a game. Like...
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Talk about a wild game choice here. the future could not
So
be
it's a
seen.
short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
I mean,
Coda's
and it
trying
has
to
a
give it a unique
message.
voice rather than
Yeah.
simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
But it has a message that's beautiful, narratively speaking. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. Aww. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
That's a beautiful one. That's a very, very beautiful one. Here's a question for you guys. Do all games need action? I don't think so. Do all games need to have any form of like interactivity with like picking items up? I don't think so. I think some games can just be just you walking in a narrative, like, you know, apparently like Death Stranding or other games out there, right? It's like you don't necessarily always need action or to pick up a weapon or adventure or solving puzzles. It's just whatever you're trying, like, you know, the artist or the self is trying to go ahead and push you through, right? Like the beginner's guide. Nice, playing with light elements. Hi, Andrew. Okay. I'm now entering. That's all.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
It was, Andrew. We finished it up earlier.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Oh, shit.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Right. Especially when there's like a ton of... Just put 3 objects in it. Keep walking forward. You'll make it. Ooh.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Nah. The game was intended to be played at a crawling pace. We'll get there at this crawling pace. We are playing as the dev intended, you know? It's supposed to be a reflection of life, you know? Or you might start off... you know, your years might zoom on by and then they go on quicker, but yet the step ladders to success might come to a crawling halt in that aspect. I just now realized how perfect it is. We were fixing the game to make it work in the first place. But did the game need fixing? Ah! No! I just pressed my mouse! Okay. Can I not? Can I go slower yet? Nope. The game was like, nope. Nope. The game was like, nope, absolutely not. Alright, it is what it is. This is beautiful, though. Just a little, like, extreme crawl segment here. Stand on extern. Or you have to scream into the mic.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
A key in one game unlocks a door in a completely separate game.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that.
Oh.
It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A stranger appears. You must address and rally a group of eager press reporters. A game of only... Oh. Stand on an X and stare at a bear for 3 hours? It sounds like a Mr. Beast challenge. Oh. I mean, how many of us, especially if you're creative, have like, or you like creating things? How many of you guys have had like a wall full of ideas and like dreams to implement them, but maybe life came at you a little too hard and you've been like swamped by life that you haven't been able to go ahead and pick up an idea and run with it? Or maybe you've just been swamped to the point where you're trying your best to try and get back to it, but like you're like you get back into it for maybe a little bit and then it comes and hits you again. Two hands to raise, right? Yeah, this game kind of hits in that matter. I'm just like, Might be tough to climb. It could take a long time. You'll get new ideas eventually. Well, that as well, you have trouble. It's like, we'll get there eventually, but sometimes new ideas will keep refreshing all of that. All of my ideas take a lot of time. Yeah, and
well,
the
this is
anxiety.
new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it. Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're going to see it a lot.
That was cool. Yeah, I mean, it's also a person evolving as they play a game, right? As they create games. And I guess I'll touch on that in a bit. As soon as the music goes down a little.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. All right, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Oh, shit. Whoa!
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea.
Right.
So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player.
Right.
So if your role here is not to understand,
Welcome,
then
Yoa.
what is it?
It's to play. Our role is to play. Oh, he came back to this. Oh, okay. I did want to touch on that, which was, I guess, oftentimes we're seeing this individual Coda develop as a game creator, right? We're seeing him literally keep putting in new ideas to the test, which is amazing. It's an amazing experience to see this person develop game by game by game in just a short period of time like this. You are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow.
Right.
It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them.
Sure.
And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Damn, okay. house.
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
Sure.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do.
Absolutely.
So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Whoa!
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Yes.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing
Boxes.
linear, boxy corridors.
My God. What is this, like, last panel, though? Okay, so we can't touch that. Whoa. This looks amazing, though. Hello? Housekeeping. I love how just the subtlety of like light and sound can guide you to discovering.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in
And
nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
But it's a game doesn't have to be playable, right? No, I will stay right there very much so. An hour. But the main regard still stands in. Like, ultimately, it's the director throwing a vision out there. Yeah, through all. And us going through to try and go in and understand and play a game like this, right? Or play games like that. Harder than player in the first game, yep.
It's
Oh,
the
puzzle!
again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Seems to be a little further away than last time, though. Oh, made it just through. A game that is not playable, like Metaphysics, unless you have a developer's tool, it's pointless. But sometimes a game that is not playable is not necessarily meant for the playability, but it's meant more for the reward aspects of, like, not reward aspects, but the narrative that it's trying to tell you. Why is it as a like video game developer trying to keep you trapped for an hour? What message is the game trying to get you through in an instance like that? It's like art is a self-expression in a way, and for me it makes me wonder what was Coda going through for him to start developing instances like this, where yes, he's growing as a creator, but at the same time it's like what does he want us to get out of this, right? What art, like, What is his art trying to tell us? Listen. Did you come from up above?
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Yes, there was a present I spent out. The world above, you've been there. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors? Yes, I did. Tell us the solution. I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Somebody let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go there. We do. We need to get out of here. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you there's nothing I want more. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. How did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes. Do you want to know how to solve it? No, we've actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it? Why would I care about this? Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange. Don't think too hard about it. Okay. You'll see it again soon. Huh. The gap in the doors. It's a separate reality.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level. It's a
Hello?
lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost.
As a center
It's going
point.
to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Sure. I will say, though, it's interesting how we're starting abstract and then we're hitting on these landmines, right? These landmarks, rather, well said. The lamppost, like an idea that comes into fruition, sort of like hitting the pole in Super Mario. This game is connected. As you walk around, you can leave notes. Okay. All notes you see are left by other players. That's Stranding? Detecting literature. How could I speak of the intent of Shakespeare? Lol, he dead. That's Stranding. You leave notes left by other players. Nice room. Not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda.
To try and
This
give
was
you that
actually the
feeling.
first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person.
That's so cool.
In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Isn't this amazing? Because this is sort of the idea that a lot of games do. Like Elden Ring, right? You can leave little like notes on the ground, and it's become like such a big aspect of like leaving a little piece of yourself behind in other worlds, right? That can either help or not help the player, or just make them laugh for a bit. Let them know that they're not alone in this world. No point to this. Whoa, holy shit. And it feels like a lot of people have treaded this same path. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Reasonable.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
This place makes
Either
me
way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see
Yes.
this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
I mean, eventually, this was already out by the time this game released.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game
You'll believe
and
Blue Bubbles
see the
can
voices in
talk.
their head and get to
Do you
know
feel
them
like a
better
hero
and have
yet?
to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work.
Do not be afraid.
I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much. It's because I felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
How is there wood and grass and concrete here? What the fuck? Balls. I want to tell you a secret. Once upon a time I did define fun. I'm king of the world. No, like for me, I'm looking at this and it's like, yes, can it show an aspect of loneliness? But this guy like created a world where in his imagination, right? In his imagination, people would leave behind these text bubbles. People were leaving behind ways and messages that were being sent to other players, regardless if it was seen or not. Like, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. What the shit is even this cavern? Boring. Yeah. There's an acorn somewhere in this place, and the sailors are looking for it. Just looking for someone to talk with. Oh. Butt ass butt. I need to go to the freaking bathroom. Recognize. Oh. Look at how well developed this is, right? Like, for a hint, right? Door how open. Makes game includes door that cannot open. Open sensibly, please. Someday I will meet the person who made this. My God. They keep you going, don't they? I very much like to be desired. Congratulations! I don't really know where to go with this. It's very crowded. And everyone's a poet. I'm compelled. I failed to write anything here. Oh, did I miss one? I did. Take my hand. Let's jump together. Okay, ready? We're gonna listen to this one. Set. Alright, no. Because there's more. What's that painting? Doesn't matter if you want to get over there. Hey, don't walk that way. Very good game. I bet it was a trap, right, John? The I need someone to talk to almost seems consistent. I've always heard that, like, whenever you make a game, it's best to do it with friends, right? So that way you don't feel lonely. That way you don't let aspects of what a world could do to you, like, affect you in this capacity. Painting, what does it mean? Whoever made this has issues. From up here, it just looks like dots. True. Who the hell are you? This is nice. Nice. Alright, let's keep going. So what sort of a game is he trying to make? Is he trying to make a game where people can... Well, neither, right? Because he just scrapped them all, or a majority of them. So then, was he using these games to practice?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Right.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
How?
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here.
Right.
To step back and connect the pieces together, to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
And then we leave it all behind. Oh. Oh my god. Born Stars died
Okay,
too.
this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
So let's talk about this a little bit, right? In a big way, he does leave room for self-reflection, which I think any video game developer, like a majority of video game developers, have started to incorporate nowadays, right? Which is just that room to breathe, that room to think, that room to process. Like, in Death Stranding, it's a lot of the walking, where people were hating on the game because of the walking element of things, right? For some other games, it's just a quiet moment. It could even be the pause function like this that allows individuals the opportunity to think about what just happened, to think about their actions, to think about what they have just experienced. And in some games, I'll be honest, I really appreciate functions like that that allow you the opportunity to think. The light post at the end is beautiful as a way of like symbolizing that we reached the end, but also how much is he going through? No, I think it really is deep, Yoa. Whenever we think about this like this, we have to think about a person's putting hours or days into creating a world like this, right? Into leaving little notes behind, a little piece of themselves behind to try and fill an empty world with the world that the player might think was filled with individuals or others, right? Like the color choices, the way that things are placed, all of these were chosen by the director, by the creator to push a meaning off to us in some capacity. It just makes me wonder if Coda was lonely, It really does. It pushes, like for me, it's pushing this thought pattern of like how many of you guys think that Coda might have been dealing with maybe a little bit of loneliness, maybe a little bit of trying to find himself in the games that he was making. And that's the thing, is sometimes art can be therapy. Art, video game design, and voice acting, and performance, and 1,001 other things can also be a very therapeutic way of finding yourselves. Anyway, quick little break, guys. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to run to the restroom, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Ooh. I'm back. Anyway, sorry guys. That took a little bit. That took just a little bit. And do not read backlog. Okay. Oh, the mods already deleted it before I even had a chance. But that's the key element to this, is like even of self, right? Whenever we look at games like this, and whenever we take a big, just to look into what it means to create, what it means to do certain things. I can create some things. I can do art. I can do 1,001 things. It doesn't necessarily have to be to please others, but maybe just for myself. Maybe for a semblance of sanity, a semblance of self. There's a big thing in creating and destroying, right? Creating worlds and destroying it. Or even more so with like empty chair techniques, right? Having a blank slate, trying to create something, not for anybody else, but just for yourself and for an aspect of evolution, an aspect of trying to go out and find, an aspect to go ahead and find oneself in the games that we're playing. You're making me think, why am I doing this? Well, think about this, World Maker. If you're writing right now, what and who are you writing for? In your characters, do you find pieces of yourself in them? In the world that you're creating, do you find a piece of your soul? Not your soul, but like your writing, creative habits or whatnot inside of that? Whoa.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Nothing is there. Let's put a giant hole in the ground. Hey! Let's do 10 stoves all lined up against the wall. That's not 10 stoves. A skylight. Hey, that's not a... In a table, you need a table. Who are you? Whoa!
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Whoa!
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please walk forward. Or even a whiteboard to make something awesome. Yeah. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember. Click on the table. Good. Go over to the photo frame and turn it slightly. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off. Now go to the left side of the sofa and move it a little bit. Touch the shelves. The escape will now open. Return to the start and be taken to your prison. Wait, why would I want to be taken to my prison? No! Why would we go back to the... No! Ready to the start. Return to the start to be taken to your prison. In real life, the escape will now open. Okay. Ah!
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Oh. I will say though, sometimes you have to hit your head on a wall like 1,000 times before you come to the realization that you're hitting yourself on this one particular trouble over and over again and not seeing the full picture. Like 100%. Yo, this would be like a really good horror game. Like something this dark. Reminds me of like the game that like there's a horror game. I'm thinking it's the Clock Tower series. I don't know. That like my cousin and my brother would play. I was a little kid at night, and it involved like it was like a point and click game where you were a girl and you were hiding and going into closets and getting items and stuff, and like these things would chase you. Yeah, it was for like the PlayStation 1 or a PC. I don't remember which, but I just remember like being ingrained in my head that like I'd be like terrified. And the lamp is there. But all of that not having light, just being completely dark. Oh God. Hello, who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. Oh God. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself.
Yeah.
All of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Yeah. I'm forgetting. Feels like completely still and wildly emotional. Do you feel any difference? Sometimes I'm scared I'll get out and then things will be exactly the same as before. It actually does change. I don't feel like the same person at all. Oh, good. That's nice to hear. This makes me feel really happy. Remember to enjoy who you are right now. Oh God, I'm still me. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's hard to describe. Did you get another call from another version of you when you were? No, I think I'm the first person to call back. Oh. To get out. Tell me how you feel. Just tell me how you feel. I'm kind of afraid for Coda. I'm kind of like legitimately like it's like a therapy. Yeah, it is literally like.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm really afraid now for him.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Yeah, exactly, Lithius. We're inventing our own narrative about this person here. Snake.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Right. Beautiful. Well, my goodness. I'm glad as heck that you showed up. Though I might be having to clean this entire house all by myself, all right? Miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands makes lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on.
Right.
From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
I mean, makes sense. Don't worry about me. A place this nice, I'll be glad to stay here all night. Oh, you should be alive, yeah. Why don't we start cleaning and then decide whether or not you can do it all night? I'm finishing up here. Let's clean the table. Now, would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? You got it, sir. Made the bed. While you're in there, why don't you straighten out the rug a bit? All the details matters, yes, sir. How'd you end up doing this job? Friend dragged me along at a time when I was a particular desperate need for cash. Turns out, I've never felt so good doing something for money my whole life. Never did I like cleaning my own home. I might have gotten some demons I ain't ready to face yet. Someone put this couch in a mess. Would you come and straighten out the pillows? Yeah, I got it, sir. Spilled drink. Compared to sharing incredibly. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy, sir. No. That was stupid. Never mind. No, share. It's okay. It's like he wants to open up. And then he's like, no. No need to be perfect with it. Bedroom, so could you put them there? Done. Oh, again?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing.
Yeah.
It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
That is beautiful. Like, yeah, it feels like in the big way, like you're just cleansing yourself, you know? House cleaning is so difficult. How did you do it? Your house is only as difficult to clean as you are.
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like, all the time. He just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
I'm tearing up here so quick. Your house is only as difficult to clean as you are. If you're finding the work hard, maybe you have a bit of housekeeping to do before you come to work. And here I go with another lecture. Of course I would. Don't you worry about all the nonsense. I'll just smooth out the rug in the bedroom. And that's a big thing is... I think that's the big thing is... a lot of us... Mr. Peterson's... Yeah, I know. Yes, sir. A lot of us have a lot of things to work on ourselves, you know? Like one soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you. Don't know why it felt so weird to say that. But there's a bit of truth to it, no? Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Bugs, would you please... I'm over here tearing up at this. Like, what the fuck, chat?
I'm glad he found some peace.
What the fuck? Question, yes, sir.
But, of course, it can't last.
Right.
The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
But at the same time, like, for himself to create this, even though nobody else would play this game for him, I'm assuming that this was rather cleansing for him. Right. It's called Va. Damn, brother. The walls just disappear. Like, yeah. And there's the lamppost. What the fuck?
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really thought that was the point of it.
Hmm.
This one gets a bit goofy.
Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No! You You come here to be perfect. This workshop's gonna teach you how to become perfect. I want your friends, the people in your love life, to look at you and think, wow, this person's a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they can make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to who you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how we do it, but how we do it effortlessly. That is easy. It's so easy. It's so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit. The key is, how do I
You
achieve...
play as the teacher, and suddenly you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Well, let me tell you right now, it isn't effortless and it's not right. If you're torturing yourself trying to find the right solution to your life, you're not doing it right. What the fuck is that? Do you understand that you won't be happy to... Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Just get it. Just get it. What if I'm not a good teacher? Holy crap! You guys, something's coming out of the back of the room. It's coming for you. It's going to this. Everyone, run! Run!
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Right.
I think about this game a lot these days.
Looks like social anxiety. But also, just that aspect that, like, you know, on the one's perspective, we're
This
only
one
seeing the
took a
teacher
lot
talk
longer
about.
than all the others for.
The one perspective, we're only seeing the, like, you know, the students be in the room, looking at the teacher talk about perfection. On the other side, the teacher's over here just buying time by whatever's in there.
Coda to
Like the inner thoughts, right?
make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this. And it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
A game with the stage. Whew. Okay, let me Oshinoko this. In this scene, you will be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals. Leaning against the wall. Let me get my cigar. Good, stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Hello. That's it. I'm smoking a cigarette. That's not a conversation. Be a human being. Do it again. Okay? Daisuki da yo. No, that's not what I said to her. No, that's not what I said to her at all. Oh, I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. You can bounce off with. So this is a reflection of him. Holy crap. Now talk to her again. Oh. Literally, some people I can bounce off of. Hold on. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. I'm messing it up again. Oh, God. I don't know, man. Everything was writing on this. Try stepping back from the stage. Okay. Oh, okay, it's not. This is what
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw.
Yeah.
To hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very helpful when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world.
You can't even really
And that
see
wasn't
the
what I
stage.
wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with his person, to bring him closer.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Oftentimes, though, like, this is why I say it, like, even for developers and, like, for people that create games and art, it can be a lot of self-therapy with that regard, right? A lot of individuals finding some way, shape, or form to feel therapy, to feel being seen, heard, whatnot, putting your frustrations into a scene and then slowly walking out of it like, wow. Like, you know, everyone's watching you in this theater, in this stage where you get to play a role, right? And it doesn't go however you want it to go, so you start retreating into your innermost world.
But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. What's going on? Captain, what can we do? Close your eye. Please, Luke. Why are you cheating, you cheddar? We're gonna be killed by a giant Thor! Fine, I'll close my eyes.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
There's a giant door within my vision. Can't you do something about it? Please, someone talk to me. No! We're gonna get killed! Help, I'm blind! Why did I go blind? I can't see. Please don't let this be forever. No! Okay, what the? I can't see anything. Oh. Oh.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him.
Right.
Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like,
Oh.
you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing.
Right.
Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
It's draining me. Keep going. Keep talking. I haven't been honest. I'm alone. We're going to be okay. Oh, what the fuck?
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out.
Oh.
After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Yeah, because it's draining him. Like, the joy that he once had to... What is this? Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I've talked to him. What's wrong? You look lost. It's like an empty space. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing left to give to my work. Oh no. What happened? Did something change? I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. There was a machine that kept trying to find this engine that used to protect me. Start it again. You're looking for a machine? I know where it is. I need to see it. I know why it stopped.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11.
Yeah.
Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety,
depression, yeah.
even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore.
Because sometimes that's the only way that you've learned how to deal with your emotions. And unfortunately, mental health care is still not available for a lot of individuals. And in some countries, mental health care is not even a thing, right? You go to a doctor and they'll just shove you away because, oh, you want to feel better, just go outside. And, you know, oh, you're making games or you're making art. That's not a real person job. Oh, you're doing Twitch or you're doing content creation. That's not real. And so you do the only thing that you think that you do to feel better, right? And the only thing that you know that has worked for some capacity is to do art, is to do the thing that has gotten you into this place, even if it means, you know, showcasing that area of depression, of anxiety, of everything even more as it is now in the provided time frames. So it's like looking at someone expressing themselves through games and through instances like this. It hurts, but at the same time, I'm not shocked by it. And the reason why I'm not shocked by it started in 2008, Kun, at least from what I remember. Is because, like, oftentimes I hate to put it this way, it's like you go to a psychologist or a therapist, or, you know, and there's still the frame of mind of like, oh wow, you're crazy, you're like, you know, even though it's a lot more included and you have like a lot of ads for BetterHelp and 1,001 other things out there, there's still a stigma around going to go seek mental health help, you know, and there's still a stigma around all of this. So we let out our frustrations through our works, and we hope that maybe someday that this could fix us.
Why? What is it for?
It doesn't matter what I say, does it? We're going to end up there one way or another. And it says deal. Perfect. Come Come along, I'll show you.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Now you have to close the first door.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation.
But you can. That's what narrative therapy is, and that's what Gestalt therapy is. Not necessarily for another person to hear you and for you to start moving based on that, but for you to start answering some of your own questions, even if other people aren't accessing those questions for you. For you to start wondering the why, how, where, why, how, when, so on and so forth, and start figuring out those decisions for yourself. Talking to yourself is one of the biggest aspects for self-healing out there. It doesn't matter if you do it through art or through legitimately just talking to yourself in that way. But don't you have to have someone guide you to ask the right questions? It doesn't matter. Even if you're stuck like this, if you're just constantly talking to yourself, right? If you're having that narrative questioning of yourself, you're allowing yourself the ability to think. And that's the big moment. Is allowing yourself the ability. Yes. Can it feel more lonely? Absolutely. Should you still seek mental health help if you have the ability to? Yes, 100%. But oftentimes, some of the biggest cures out there for a lot of individuals and the biggest forms of resolution to take the next step comes from this area of self-talk. Self-talk is huge. Self-talk is a component that at least allows you to go ahead and start talking, even when there are no other voices in the room, right? Big.
If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Huge. Just be stuck on what they call negative. It can be, Yoa. You can get stuck on negative repetitive thoughts, but here's the thing. If you've told a story once, how does it feel? Pretty raw and fresh. But if you've told that story 1,000 times, how do you feel? Is it still to the same extent as you've told it the first time? Or is it to a lesser extent? Because you've now told that story 1,000 times. And so that's the key element through this is depression, anxiety, elements like this. Yes, when you feel something, it's still and it's going to take a while to heal. It's not going to be immediately. Exactly, Lalieri. It's not going to be an immediate fix to it. But over time, you'll start realizing that it's not having the same impact as it once had, right? And that's the key elements as to why, number one, you should always seek a mental health professional. But number two, why you have to talk to yourself, even if it sounds like repeated negative thoughts, and why these thoughts have to be shared with others, right? In a big aspect, even having a self-reflection work like this, if you start seeing a character go through with this, I bet you anything, if you had your own thoughts played out in a way like this, you might be questioning your own decisions and why. Oh, man. Sorry. I sense a little chili something being cooked somewhere. Oof. Exactly, you have trouble. You'll love it 100% of it. Hi, not a winner. Hope you're doing well. And then what society expects from you, right? Making games is simple. It's great. It's wonderful. It's joyous. Sure. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're practicing. But it wasn't true. Don't worry about it. Just keep trying. And it's like completely saying that over and over again. It never stops being easy.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Please, where's the
machine?
machine?
I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create.
Right.
For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Any sacrifices made are worth 100% of my time.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
I will be saved by my work. That aspect of legacy. Wow. Wow. And then the prison again.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Wow. Holy shit, guys. I can't say this again, but like it's really this feels like a powerful, beautiful drive to just get through into the core of, you know, the message behind it, and it's beautiful. We're in 2011 now. Oh shit. Now we have a guard. Man, glad to see you've arrived. We've captured the machine that's waiting for you inside. You can begin interrogating whenever you want. I intend to be brutal. Very good. Just be warned, someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. You might. It's Coda. Oh no. Oh no. No puzzle this time. How did you capture it? Will it be punished? Where is the machine?
And of course, it's the machine.
Your work was keeping us alive. Those people out there, can you imagine it? It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. I've been so alone. Think about this. Think about what it's doing here. It is literally doing an empty chair technique where it's using this machine as a representation of themselves to like frustrate and vent to and use all of this anger and emotion to vent against itself. It's literally doing a Gestaltian form of therapy. That's what it is. It's an empty chair technique that is being used right now in a way to vent the frustration, to vent everything, and separate themselves from, you know, Coda the creator. That's crazy, dude. This is... Apologize for leaving me. The machine never existed. No, nothing. Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. Alright then, I will apologize to the people on your behalf. It's all rusted up. It's not even a new machine. It's rusted up. It's clanky. And now I have to go and apologize for it. My followers or my friends? And it's not even turning. My friends. Falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine refuses to admit that it has deliberately hurtless. But we are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. But this is not important. We are stronger than what it thinks it is. Let us show it that we are not failures. Let us pay it with retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. We will destroy the machine and everything that it... Follow me, we will destroy the machine. And back again, we are at the theater. And spotlight. We're gonna destroy ourselves, aren't we? Oh, fuck. Literally. Just taking out the anger of yourself with this, right?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Coda is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so,
but he's
as I'm
destroying
thinking this,
everything.
I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental...
It can make it worse too. It can make it worse too. Don't get me wrong. A lot of times change has to come from the person, right? And we can offer to do something, but if we just take it and do something for someone without their consent, without them being at that stage of change, it can absolutely crush an individual and force them to even like consider more pressures that they already had pressure on themselves. Adding the pressure of other people's expectations could make this even worse.
Spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
It's like you gotta be careful. You really gotta be careful in scenarios like this.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all is just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work.
Yeah.
There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
But he... Put down your weapon. Expectations can ruin the little motivation you have. Oh, crap.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need. To be told that my work is good. That I am good.
Yeah.
When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was
Exactly.
in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift,
But did
maybe
you
I could
ask him if
fix
he
the problem?
if he wanted it to be fixed?
They told me how much they enjoyed his games. It was the best.
But it's like, narrator, did you ask them if they even wanted that? Or did you just make an assumption and push it because you thought I could fix him? Because you thought he needs to be fixed. And in the process, you just end up hurting him even more. Like, he's hurting for connection, but not connection from his games, but like more so connection on like through individuals. Bro wanted to fix him, right?
Feeling. It's the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while.
Which, in a big thing, if that's the case, aren't we just falling through that area, that cycle again, where he's introducing these games that Coda didn't really want out there for other people to see and enjoy Coda's work and his struggles and whatnot to us in a way to try and convince Coda to start making games again. That's Hey Coda, turn on the machine again.
So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The Tower. Okay. We're back in this world.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
There can be beauty in coldness. But then why is he insisting on showing Coda's game even when he knows it was originally a bad idea? Well, you have to remember, for him, this is a way to try and get Coda back to doing stuff, something that he wants, something that he likes. Because he likes Coda's games. We're being introduced to Coda's games, right? That's... If this is the last game he made, then... Oof. My heart's kind of...
This room actually has a maze in it.
Ooh.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Huh. No! No! Okay. The single spot of light coming through. Damn.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever.
Let's go back to
You
that
had
one.
to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate.
Right.
What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Probably to try and showcase that there's a lot of struggles that we can't directly see in some capacity.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Dang it. 1 5 1 6 1 7. But where do they get these numbers from, though? Random. 15, 16, 17.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed.
Exactly.
And I don't understand why.
You're starting to feel as though the you that the narrator had envisioned Coda to be isn't necessarily the Coda that he truly is. So we're getting the narrator's perspective clashing with Coda, because at the end of the day, the narrator is automatically putting their perspectives, their expectations, their everything on this individual. Exactly. Even if you do... Is it really a good thing? No, because we haven't heard Coda say that, right? This is just the narrator wanting us to invite Coda back into making games. We haven't heard Coda, like, from the looks of it, Coda wants to disconnect.
It's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew. It wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was. And
Then did you talk to him? Or did you only talk to him through his games? Or about his games? Did you reach out to him and be like, hey, man, why don't we go ahead and get on what was really good back then? Skype, right? Why don't we get on Skype or MySpace or something and have a conversation? Or were you more along the lines of, hey, when are you completing your game? Hey, I really liked your game. Were the conversations involving past just video games and video game making? And actually have a deeper conversation when you met, like, IRL?
And what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't. I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
Like you had failed.
Where did I screw up?
Narrator. Where did you screw up? I thought this was about Coda. Hold on, it's my brother.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. That hurts. Oh. Oof. Yeah, Davey, that who's cutting onions? And what a way to like literally put him on blast, dude. What a way to like literally just highlight this for him. And thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you not to speak to me anymore. Quicksilver, yeah. Coda knew that Davey would cheat to try and get your.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I'm making these games for you. Ooh. You've so infected my personal space that it's...
the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. And they literally made a little museum for you. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and throwing them to people against my wishes? That's exactly what I had thought. That's exactly what I had thought, is he was showing games that were meant to be private, that weren't meant to have a solution, that weren't meant to go ahead and give them something that is not yours, violating the one boundaries that keeps them safe. Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? Oh. So lampposts were our guy's idea. So the narrator would just keep doing things for... Wow. Wow. In order to make there seem as though there was an end. When not everything needs an end. Wow.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all.
Would you set them to be
less than nothing?
Let them be what they are.
What does that mean?
And yet he's showing us all their games. In a much wider scope, he's showing us all their game and asked us to send them an email. Dude, this hurts. When I am around you, I feel physically ill. He hasn't learned anything. You desperately need something, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. True. True. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling with.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
You literally pushed them away from loving and doing games because you thought that you knew better. Because instead of like actually conversing with them about 1,001 other things, you kept asking them and pushing them why and putting all these expectations on them. Like, my heart is breaking for Coda. And when you finally see what I am talking about, don't say anything.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work.
No.
Is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me?
Yes.
Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now.
What a
Like
fucking
I'm showing
asshole.
people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Fuck. 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 Holy shit. I need a moment. Holy shit. That's the thing, though. Like, I should go like, I wonder if this epilogue is made by game made by Davey himself instead of Coda. Like, he took something that was so beautiful and so private for the person that it started becoming a prison to them because the narrator kept asking him, like, to be perfect, to live up to his expectations, as we were talking about, and ultimately, like, you know, violated his trust. Ultimately violated Coda's trust and everything and sucked the life out of it. Are there low points in creation? Yes, but we get out of it. But we learn and we evolve, and sometimes there's no light lamppost at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, 15, 16, 17 was the last ones. So my God. Wow. Well, and the narrator still doesn't get it, and he still put out this game, right? In hopes that we would understand what the...
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more.
Yeah.
It's like a disease.
Different Lamppost.
Solution.
This would be really cool for like a Resident Evil game. Whoa. There's no need for a solution to anything.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate.
'Cause he never was.
I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
They're just working
Maybe
through
he
shit.
just likes making prisons.
Maybe these games don't need endings, man. Maybe he might have been going through something at that time. Yes. Yes. Without his consent. Yeah, like you could be saying, hey, you know what, they're going through some stuff, like, but even then you shouldn't be telling any person about like anything that a person's going through. Now, could the games have been therapy for the individual making them? Yeah, absolutely. But does the narrator need therapy? 110%, right? Like, looking at an instance like this, and this is why I was highlighting, is we put a lot into our works. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that like another person can come in and be like, hey, let me go ahead and violate the trust and the sanctity of your works without anything being needed from you. Like, this hurts, man. I can't even imagine what Coda must have been going through, especially knowing that, like, what the narrator was doing.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are.
Oh, really?
They'll hate you.
No. That was it.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation,
What would it be?
what would that even be?
What is self-fulfillment?
It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
And that is why, like, a lot of times whenever you go to therapy or whatnot, a big factor that we communicate and that we talk into is internal validation. Is what do you need for yourself to feel fulfilled without needing others expectations or others whatever on you, responsibilities, expectations, so on and so forth. Like, what do you need to feel fulfilled? That is, wow. Self-actualization, that's a part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, especially in regards to this, regards like this.
What now?
Wow, we're going through so many like scene changes.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for.
Sure.
So I'm
Go.
just gonna... Okay.
he's gone. Which is kind of peaceful in of itself, right? The entire time the narrator's been there, feeding you his perspective of Coda. And now you're just getting to see this world by itself. And now we're in a prison where the light is so close. We're getting closer. Wow. Don't tell me that it just loops. Don't tell me that it just loops. This is an awesome game, guys. What the fuck? You want to talk about the narrative meanings, right? And how sometimes this happens on the daily with a lot of people where we push our own beliefs and expectations onto people and kind of just wish them to accept it without any, like, code or remorse or anything like that. Like, Jesus. Like, and we're back to the beam. Where he fixed the ending so that it would have an ending of us dying, right? And not floating up to the sky, but jeez. Oh. But that's just my interpretation of the game. More often nowadays, yeah, it is, but in a beautiful way. Exactly. Well, that's beautiful. For our wow. Sorry. Moving you guys over there for a bit. Wow. Everyone that came together to make this work, though. Whew. About being an artist trope. Honestly, let me go and come on over here. Beautiful game. Powerful game. Let's talk about this for a second, right? The game isn't necessarily about Coda, right? But it's about a lot of people pushing their own beliefs and expectations onto people and literally harming the artist in the way and harming one another in the way. And you can talk about how society has done this, right? Quite literally, where individuals come through and they push their belief patterns or expectations onto certain individuals, thinking that it has to be this game. A game has to have a solution. A reactor cannot analyze a thing. A psychologist shouldn't be playing video games. Like, society and roles all have these weird stigmas and expectations as to what it means to fit into a certain role and why games need to go ahead and have a beginning and an end, and powerful stuff. Even with the Lamppost, like this title right here, man, like even in of itself, it's just a very powerful game. Content creators get it all the time. We do. Why are you? I've gotten this. I've been a couple minutes late, and I've gotten people telling me, why am I late? Why am I not doing their show? Why am I not doing their game? Why am I stopping, pausing, and analyzing? Why am I talking about certain things that makes them uncomfortable? So on and so forth. Coda just being a representation for the artist in general, right? Any artist out there in general, and how their work can often be taken, critiqued, so on and so forth. And it's kind of it's interesting, right? It's interesting because regardless, as an artist, our work is going to get critiqued, but how much we let that affect us and how much information we have to give others for them to feel complete, that's something that we also have to juggle. Phenomenal fucking game. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen. And what a way to showcase, like, number one, that we have to go back to the basics of respect, right? Like, number one, try to connect with the person for being a person, and not necessarily going there for, like, to try and benefit out of them or try and push something out of there. As we know, the narrator quite literally wanted us to, at the very beginning, to send emails about, like, Coda should write more games, but it's like, no, he doesn't. No, they do not. They do not need to make more games. They don't need to make anything if they don't want to go ahead and do it. It does leave it up to our interpretation, but my God, like, I didn't expect this out of this game. I didn't expect this layer to be in here. At the very least, there were many things changed if this game is based on any sort of real story. It could have been, because not everything is based off of reality, but maybe some elements might have been based off of it, right? He asked for Coda emails to his email, even for Coda emails to his email, right? Even said it letter by letter. So that's sort of what I'm trying to highlight is through this. Have you guys ever encountered a Davey? Have you guys ever encountered a narrator, somebody that will, like, push their perspectives and their beliefs so hard into your life that you started to change because of it? They don't have any right to anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I did not expect this game to come out swinging this hard. I did not expect to tear up as much as I did with this game. And the fact that, like, there were no solutions to some of these. Like, just the game that Coda had made about, like, cleaning the house and feeling good about it, doing it repetitively. Honestly, that was amazing in of itself, right? 15, 16, 17. Sometimes I fear that you're Davey. I saw quite few. Well, why so, Lena? And if you do fear that you are a Davey, why so? And if you feel like you are a Coda, why so? What has your experience been through all of that? I'll be honest, I've been a bit of both. That's just me being. Get back to this game each time I do. There's something else. That's why it's magical. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. When people pressure you to do something, you end up hating it. Yeah. Pushing this perspective. I'll be honest, I've been a bit of both, right? Where on the one hand, I've been a sort of Cody where I've come close to hating the art that I do, or sometimes close to just stopping. I'll be honest. There was some days, sometimes where I was going through quite a lot in my life. For those of you guys that didn't know, I was diagnosed with, like, a while ago. I'm healed now, but I was diagnosed with tuberculosis. I was going through 1,001 things. I was going through a tough time at work, a tough time, like, in my own educational setting, a tough time with, like, family matters and everything. And I was still feeling a ton of pressure by people. Why aren't you doing things the way that we want you to go ahead and do them? I was still getting, like, not bullied, but, like, messages and comments online of saying, like, oh, well, your art is a representation of yourself. Oh, well, you're, and even comparisons where people would compare me to Brady, right? And people would say, legitimately, in a way, shape, or form, they would say, hey, you know what? In a way, it was like, oh well, we know that he's a better therapist, or he's a because. And honestly, I wish I could show you guys some of the messages where they would say because he's white. And I'd just be like, what do you mean? We went to the same school, got the same education, and we both do like want to help people in some way, shape, or form. I've been told like, oh well, you know what? Like you're not beautiful, you're fat, you're ugly, all of these things, just to go ahead and tear down the psychoeducational materials that go out there and some of the conversations that come through, and it sucks. It sucked during that point in time. And as I mentioned, I was so close to just going ahead and just being like, you know what? I'm done with all of this, right? Um, I love that Oshinoko is about Davies and the community. Yeah, and the community full of Davies. Not wanting to be as pushy has made me quite passive. Every time this game made me think something different. Thank you for bringing us through your journey, Ed. I have to go now, but I'll watch your thoughts. No worries, World Maker. I appreciate you coming on through. I really do. Thanks so much for the sub again. You're incredible. But that's the main regard with me, is like this game hit, and this game hit hard. Because I feel like all of us at some point in time have either been a Davey or a Coda. And we've all experienced it in some capacity where there was this friend that was extremely into also creation, content creation and stuff, and I was asking them a bunch of stuff like, hey, like what's gonna get you into it, like hey, do you want to go ahead and like you know, here's what I do for reactions, and you know, like here's the setup that I had, and like they started it, they were doing amazing at first, and they kept asking like, you know, for help, and I would help them out whenever I could, but I felt like maybe I was oversharing, or maybe I was doing a little too much, because they just stopped making stuff altogether. Because they kept asking me, how do you keep going? They're like, we're no longer finding love and enjoyment out of it. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll keep sharing your stuff. Like, let me share your stuff. Maybe you need a little bit more motivation, or maybe whatnot. And it just, it's that fine line where we got to be a little careful. We always got to ask them, like, you know, what do you want? And understand that it's a person. And if we were in their shoes, what would we want at the end of the day? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, overcaring can be suffocating. That's my Davey side. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for being a part of this journey. Sometimes games are just meant to be played and maybe talked about a little bit throughout the journey. And this is one of those. Exactly, it's all Davey. Sometimes it's one of those games where we go through and we experience it. And I thank you for coming through and experiencing this game with me. Quicksilver, thanks so much for gifting out a sub. Thanks so much for being here, for experiencing this game with me. And honestly, I hope that this game has at least taught us or made us question some things a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful game. Let me know down below in the comments, what other game should we do next? What other game should we go ahead and process? And did you learn, or did you take anything away from this game? YouTube, I appreciate you all. I hope you guys practice some self-care, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you guys here for the next one. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you, YouTube.